Your house is paid off. It has been paid off for years, and lately you have started thinking about what happens to it after you are gone. So you do the thing that sounds simplest. You go down to the county, you sign a quitclaim deed, and you put your daughter's name on the house. No lawyer, no probate, no mess. She gets the house, you keep living in it, everybody is taken care of. Here is what actually just happened. You handed your daughter a tax bill for at least $65,000, and she is not going to find out about it until the day she tries to sell. I'm Sarah. I spent 20 years on the closing side of real estate, in title and escrow, at the table where these deals actually get signed. This is the single most expensive mistake I watched good families make, and it was almost never done out of greed. It was done out of love, by people trying to make things easier. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what that signature costs, 4 different ways it comes back on you, and the 2 ways to hand your kids the very same house and have them owe nothing at all. Let's get into it. Cost number 1. Basis. I know that word sounds like accountant language, so let me show it to you with real numbers instead. Say you and your husband bought the house in 1985 for $65,000. Today, that house is worth $500,000. That is the whole American homeowner story in one sentence. Now, if you sign that house over to your daughter while you are alive, the tax code says she does not get the house at today's value. She gets your original purchase price, $65,000. That number follows the house to her like a shadow, so she sells it for $500,000. The government does not look at what she paid. It looks at the difference between $500,000 and your $65,000. That is a gain of $435,000, and she owes capital gains tax on all of it. At the 15% rate, that is $65,250, and that is the floor. A gain that size will usually push her income high enough to trigger an extra 3.8% surtax on investment income, which is roughly $16,500 more. Then her state may want its share on top of that. So when I say $65,000, understand I am being conservative. Now watch what happens if you change one thing. You do not sign it over. You leave it to her, and she receives it after you pass. The tax code resets the value. Her starting number is no longer your $65,000 from 1985. It is what the house was worth on the day you died. $500,000. She sells it for $500,000. Her gain is 0. Her tax is 0. Same house, same daughter, same sale price. One version costs her $65,000 and the other costs her nothing, and the only difference is whether the paper moved while you were alive or after you were gone. Here is what I hear all the time. Somebody says, I looked it up, you can give away $19,000 a year tax-free, so we are fine. I need you to stop right there, because that is 2 different things being mixed together. That $19,000 number is the gift tax annual exclusion, and gift tax is almost certainly not your problem. The lifetime exemption is $15 million per person. Almost no family in America is going to owe gift tax on a house. The tax that actually shows up is capital gains, and it shows up years later, on your child's return, long after everyone has forgotten about the deed you signed. That is what makes it so quiet. Nobody gets a bill in the mail. The damage is already baked in the moment the signature dries. So here is the action. Before anyone signs anything, find out what you originally paid for the house and what it is worth today. Write both numbers down on the same piece of paper. If the gap between them is large, do not put a child's name on that deed until you have talked to an estate attorney in your state. Hey, if this is the kind of thing you want to know before you sign it instead of after, I put out a video like this every week. Subscribe to the channel, and let's get right back into it. Cost number 2, the 5-year look back. This one has nothing to do with taxes, and it catches people completely off guard. If you ever need long-term care, and you apply for Medicaid to help pay for it, the state does not just look at what you own today. It looks back through 60 months of your financial history, 5 full years, every transfer. And when they find a house that you signed over to a child for nothing, that is what they call a transfer for less than fair market value. It does not disqualify you forever. What it does is create a penalty period, a stretch of time where you are simply not eligible for the coverage, calculated from the value of what you gave away, divided by what nursing home care costs in your state. To give you a sense of scale, in Pennsylvania, 1 day of ineligibility gets created for roughly every $421 you gave away. Every state sets its own rate. Do that math on a $500,000 house, and the penalty period is not weeks. It is years. Years where you need care, cannot pay for it, and no longer own the asset that could have paid for it because you already gave it away. Now, there are real exceptions here, and I want you to know them, because this rule gets described far more harshly than it actually works. Transfers between spouses are never penalized. Transfers to a child who is blind or disabled are not penalized. And there is a caregiver-child exemption, where a child who moved in and provided the care that kept you out of a facility can receive the home without triggering the penalty. The action. If there is any chance you will need long-term care in the next 5 years, the timing of that transfer matters more than the transfer itself. Ask about the look back before you sign, not after. Cost number 3. You stop being the owner. This is the one people understand instantly once you say it out loud, and never think about beforehand. The moment your child's name is on that deed, they own part of your house. That is not a formality. That is ownership. You want to sell and move somewhere smaller. You need their signature. You want to refinance, or take a reverse mortgage, or borrow against the house to fix the roof. You need their signature. And it goes further than that. Their part of your house is now exposed to their life. If they get sued, that house is an asset. If they go through a bankruptcy, that house is an asset. If they go through a divorce, your house is sitting in the middle of somebody else's property settlement. Here is the scene I watched play out more than once. Parents put a son on the deed to keep things simple. 4 years later, the son goes through a divorce, and a house those parents had paid off in 1998 is suddenly a line item in his marital estate. Nobody did anything wrong. The paper just made their house part of his life. And if that child passes away before you do, their share does not automatically come back to you. It goes wherever their estate plan sends it, and that may be to a spouse you barely know. The action. Before you add anyone to your deed, ask yourself one question. Am I willing for this house to be exposed to everything that happens in this person's life for the rest of mine? If the answer is no, do not sign. Cost number 4. The paperwork nobody files and the state rule nobody reads. 2 quick ones, but they both bite. First, signing over a house worth $500,000 is a gift far larger than that annual exclusion, so a federal gift tax return is required. Form 709. Almost nobody owes any actual tax because of that $15 million lifetime exemption, but the filing itself is not optional, and I watched families miss it constantly because nothing in the process reminds you. Second, and this one is for California specifically. Since February of 2021, when a parent transfers a home to a child, that child only keeps the parent's low property tax base if they move in and make it their primary residence within 1 year, and there is a cap on how much value can be protected. Rentals and vacation homes no longer qualify at all. They get reassessed at today's market value, and the new property tax bill can be several times the old one. If you are not in California, that specific rule is not yours. But your state has its own, and that is the point. The action here is simple. Before the transfer, ask your county assessor one question. Will this reassess my property taxes? Ask it before, because the answer never changes afterward. So what do you do instead? The good news is that fixing this is not complicated, and every option works the same way. The house moves at death instead of during life, which is what protects that reset in value. The most common answer is the plainest one. Leave it to them in a will, or put the house in a revocable living trust. A trust also keeps the whole thing out of probate, which is usually the real reason people were trying to sign the deed over in the first place. The second option is a transfer on death deed, sometimes called a beneficiary deed. It is available in 32 states plus Washington, D.C. now. You record it today, you name who gets the house, and nothing changes while you are alive. You still own it outright, you can still sell it, you can still cancel the deed. It only takes effect when you pass. A handful of states offer a similar tool under a different name, so ask what your state actually allows. And there is a third path people forget entirely. You sell the house yourself. If it is your primary residence and you have lived in it 2 of the last 5 years, a married couple can exclude up to $500,000 of gain, and a single person up to $250,000. On that same $435,000 gain, a married couple pays nothing at all. Read that one twice. The parents can sell that house and owe $0. The kids can inherit that house and owe $0. It is only the gift in the middle that manufactures a $65,000 tax bill. Let's bring this together. 4 costs of signing your house over while you are alive, the lost step-up in value, and the $65,000 capital gains bill that comes with it. The 5-year Medicaid look-back and the penalty period it creates, the loss of control, and the exposure to your child's lawsuits, debts, and divorce. And the paperwork and property tax rules that nobody warns you about. Every one of them comes from the same decision, not from what you wanted to do, but from when you did it. You were never wrong to want your kids to have the house. That part is right. It is the timing that costs them, and the timing is the one piece that is completely in your control. If you want the other side of this, the mistakes that show up on the buying end of the table, I break those down in the video right here.